You might be surprised to know that some creatures can take off their heads and place them on their laps to braid their hair. Get ready for the mysterious story of Amaka. In the heart of Imo State, in the hills of Owerri, there was a school called St. Mary's Girls' Boarding School. This school was very old and had many traditions. The girls who went there learned a lot and were taught to be leaders, strong and honest. The school had big gates, beautiful gardens, old trees, and white walls that shone in the sun. Inside the school, there was always a lot of activity. Girls were always moving from their dorms to classrooms, to the chapel, and to the dining hall. They wore neat uniforms and moved together, showing how disciplined they were. But there was one thing that always caught everyone's attention: Amaka's hair. Amaka was different from the other girls at St. Mary's. She was quiet and liked to be alone, but everyone noticed her. She made people feel comfortable just by being around. Teachers liked her because she behaved well. Her classmates admired her kindness, and younger students looked up to her. But what really made Amaka stand out was her hair. It was thick, black and shiny. It flowed down her back in long, silky waves that sparkled in the light. Every week, Amaka had a new hairstyle. She had beautiful braids, crown-like updos, or perfect twists. The other girls couldn't believe how amazing her hair looked, and no one ever saw her getting it done. This mystery fascinated the girls at St. Mary's. They spent long hours with Mama Ugo, the school's hairstylist. Mama Ugo had been at the school for many years and was very skilled. Every Friday, the girls lined up at her salon to get their hair styled. They waited patiently as Mama Ugo worked her magic, turning their messy hair into perfect cornrows, braids, or buns. Some girls didn't like this weekly ritual, but others enjoyed the time to bond, gossip, and laugh. But Amaka never joined this ritual. She never visited Mama Ugo and didn't seem interested in the hairstyles announced by Chika, the social prefect. Chika was in charge of setting the hairstyle for the week and took her job seriously. Every Friday, she would announce the new hairstyle, sometimes simple hair like cornrows, and other times more elaborate hair like Ghana weaving or a complex braided bun. Whenever Chika announced the new hairstyle, the girls would grumble because it took a lot of time and effort to look perfect. But Amaka would just smile and nod, never worried about how she would do it. One night, after everyone was asleep, Amaka sat up in her bed. She looked around to make sure everyone was sleeping. The room was filled with the soft snores of her roommates. Amanda, her closest friend, was snuggled under her blanket. Quietly, Amaka slipped out of the bed. She tiptoed across the cold floor and left the dormitory. The school corridors were spooky at night, with only the sound of rustling trees outside. Amaka went to the empty, cold bathroom and locked the door behind her. In the dim light, she reached up to her head and gently twisted her neck. Her head came off smoothly, like a puzzle piece. She placed her head on her lap and started braiding her hair with skill and precision. Her fingers moved quickly, weaving the hair into intricate style Chika had announced. It was a strange sight. Amaka's headless body braided her hair while her head rested on her lap. Her face was calm and her eyes were closed. There was a faint humming sound like an old lullaby. coming from her lips, even though her mouth didn't move. By Monday morning, Amaka's hair was very perfect. The other girls would whisper, "How does she do it?" And they watched her walk across the courtyard with her hair shining in the sunlight. They wondered if she had a secret stylist or woke up early to do it herself. But no one could figure it out, and Amaka never told her secret. Amanda, who used to be Amaka's friend, noticed how everyone admired Amaka. It wasn't just her hair, it was the way she seemed to get attention without trying. Teachers praised her, and the girls wanted to be her friend. Amanda felt like she was fading into the background. She was smart and funny, but when Amaka was around, no one noticed her. Amanda tried to ignore the jealousy she felt growing inside her. Amanda told herself that being friends with Amaka was more important than being popular. But as time went on, she got more and more jealous. She started to feel bitter and angry. Amanda stopped talking to Amaka and didn't go on walks with her anymore. Amaka noticed that Amanda was acting differently, but she didn't say anything. She was still polite and kind, always smiling at Amanda. But their friendship wasn't the same. Amanda, who used to be Amaka's best friend, now watched her from a distance, wanting to know Amaka's secrets. One Friday, Chika announced a new hairstyle called the waterfall crown. It was very hard to do, and the girls groaned because they knew it would be tough. But Amaka just smiled, and something inside Amanda snapped. That night, after the lights went out, Amanda laid in bed thinking. She had to know how Amaka did her hair. She was ready to do anything to find out. Amanda stayed awake, listening to the snores of the other girls. She knew Amaka always waited until late night to do her hair. Amanda had tried to catch her before, but never saw her move. Tonight, Amanda was determined to stay awake. She watched the clock, her eyes getting heavy, but her mind focused. Finally, after midnight, she heard a soft sound from Amaka's bed. Amanda's heart raced as she watched Amanda sit up and look around the room. Amanda pretended to be asleep, but kept her eyes open a little to watch Amaka. She saw Amaka quietly get out of bed and walked to the door. Amanda waited until Amaka left the room. Then she got up and followed her. The school was spooky at night, with shadows on the walls and the sound of trees rustling outside. Amaka moved quickly and Amanda hurried to keep up. She followed Amaka to the school bathroom. Amaka went inside and closed the door. Amanda's heart was pounding as she reached the bathroom door. She was scared but curious. She slowly opened the door and peeked inside. What she saw made her blood run cold. In the middle of the bathroom, Amaka was sitting without her head. Her hands were braiding her hair with amazing skill, making the waterfall crown that Chika had announced. Amanda's breath caught in her throat as she pressed her back against the cold bathroom wall. Her eyes were wide with disbelief. She blinked several times, trying to understand what she was seeing. But no matter how hard she tried, the image of Amaka's headless body braiding her own hair stayed the same. Amaka's head was on her lap, her eyes closed, and she had a peaceful smile on her face. Amanda stood frozen, her legs shaking. Her mind was full of thoughts, fear, confusion, and a strange sense of awe. How could Amaka do something so strange and beautiful? Was it magic or something even older and more mysterious? The soft humming in the room grew louder, and Amanda realized it was coming from Amaka. The sound wasn't from her lips, but from the air around her. It was a soft, haunting melody that made the hair on Amanda's arm stand up. It was an old lullaby, carrying the weight of many years. The melody twisted through the air, just like the braids Amaka's fingers were weaving. Amaka's fingers moved quickly, braiding her thick, shiny hair into the waterfall crown that the other girls found so hard to do. The braids seemed to form themselves, as if Amaka's hands were just guiding some invisible force. Amanda couldn't look away. It was hypnotic, the way Amaka's headless body moved with such grace and ease, as if this was the most natural thing in the world for her. Then suddenly Amaka's head twitched, her eyelids fluttered open, and her dark eyes fixed on Amanda. The humming stopped, replaced by an eerie silence that seemed to last forever. Amanda's heart raced as Amaka's head, still on her lap, turned slightly to face her. A soft chuckle came from Amaka's lips, a sound that sent chills down Amanda's spine. The bathroom, once just a normal place, now felt like a nightmare. "Well?" Amaka said softly, her voice calm and steady, even though her head was still off her body. "I guess you found out my secret." Amanda felt her legs buckle as the weight of Amaka's words sank in. She wanted to scream, to run away, but her body wouldn't move. She was trapped, facing something she couldn't understand. Amaka, still sitting calmly, began to lift her head with one hand while the other finished the braid. Her movements were gentle, almost tender, as if she were handling something precious. She brought her head closer to her neck, and with a smooth motion, she reattached it. Her neck made a soft clicking sound as her head settled into place. Amaka blinked once, twice, then stood up gracefully. Amanda, still on the floor, watched in stone silence as Amaka walked towards her. Amaka knelt down, her eyes meeting Amanda's with a look that was both knowing and kind. "You weren't supposed to see this," Amaka whispered, her voice barely above a breath. "But now that you have," she trailed off, her gaze steady but unreadable. Amanda swallowed hard, her throat dry. Her mind raced with questions, but no words came out. She could only stare up at Amaka, her heart pounding in her chest, her breath coming in shallow gasps. Amaka smiled a little and touched Amanda's cheek. It felt both nice and strange. "You must understand," Amaka said gently but firmly. "You can't tell anyone about this. No one would believe you." Amanda felt a shiver down her spine. Amaka was right. Who would believe such a story? The girls at St. Mary's would think she was crazy. The truth was too strange for anyone to accept. Amaka stood up and said, "Go back to bed, Amanda. You've seen enough for one night." Amanda stayed frozen for a while, her mind spinning. Finally, she stood up, her legs shaking. She looked at Amaka one last time before running back to her bed. She pulled the covers up to her chin, trying to feel safe. Her mind kept replaying what she had seen. Amaka's secret didn't make any sense. Amanda couldn't sleep that night. She lay awake, her heart pounding, thinking about Amaka's headless body braiding her hair. She wondered how long Amaka had been doing this and keeping it a secret. The next morning, Amanda felt like she was in a dream. She got dressed without thinking, her mind still on what happened the night before. She heard the other girls talking excitedly about the assembly, but she felt like she was in a fog, carrying the heavy secret. At breakfast, Amaka's hair was perfect in the waterfall crown. The other girls crowded around her, praising her. "Amaka, how do you do it?" one girl asked. "It's like magic." Amaka smiled mysteriously and looked at Amanda before saying, "I just have a way with my hands, I suppose." Amanda felt a chill at Amaka's words. It was like Amaka was daring her to tell the truth, but Amanda stayed silent. The truth was too dangerous and unbelievable. So Amanda kept the secret. She watched Amaka move through the school with her usual grace and perfect hair. But now, Amanda saw her differently. Amaka was no longer just a quiet, talented girl. She was something more, something that couldn't be explained. As weeks passed by, Amanda found herself pulling away from the other girls. Amanda no longer joined in the girls' gossip or laughter. She spent more time alone, thinking about that night in the bathroom. The secret she carried felt heavy, like a weight she could never put down. Even though she was scared, Amanda felt a strange sense of awe towards Amaka. There was something powerful about her, something beyond her beauty and talent. It was like Amaka had an ancient magic hidden from the world until now. Amanda knew she could never fully understand what she had seen that night, but she also knew she would never forget it. Amaka's secret had become a part of her, just like the intricate braids in Amaka's hair. As time went on, the other girls continued to admire Amaka from afar, never guessing the truth. Amaka's legend grew at St. Mary's, whispered in hushed tones at night. Some said she was blessed by the gods. Others thought she learned her skills from an ancient witch. But no one knew the truth except Amanda, who kept the secret for the rest of her life. And so, the mystery of Amaka's beautiful hair remains unsolved, a story passed down through the generations at St. Mary's, like a thread of dark magic that would never be unraveled.